This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. We have Senator Amara Konneh. Senator, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Julia. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I understand you are on a 5-day extension after the House closed, before you can close?
Yes, technically we closed last week, but the President pro tempore asked us to stay for an additional 5 days, which is, I think, allowed under the Constitution and our rules to finish our business.
I have some radical thoughts about I don't know. I don't think the legislature should be going on break totally. Yeah, maybe you all could take the same 1 month leave intermittently at different times. I don't know.
Well, I think that will require a constitutional amendment.
Sure. But let me read you something from Spoon TV.
Okay.
Since our reporter hasn't got us. But do you know Dr. Adesina?
Yes, president of the African Development Bank, and he became president when I was Minister of Finance, and I voted for him on behalf of Liberia. So I know him very well.
So let me read something to you and hear what you what you think. He said, Spoon wrote, in front of President Bwakai in a thunderous charge that pierced through bureaucratic comfort zones, African Development Bank President and Nigeria's former Agriculture Minister Dr. Akinwumi Adesina delivered a blistering wake-up call to members of President Joseph Human Boakai's administration, declaring, if you don't want to be a minister, don't ask for the job. Dr. Adesina's straightforward declaration came during the ongoing high-level expanded cabinet meeting and the official launch of the Liberia Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Bank, YEIB, on Tuesday, July 22, 2025, at the EGS Ministerial Complex. He said the ongoing initiative aimed at transforming youth-led innovation and private sector development. The AFDB president, known for his uncompromising development leadership across the continent, minced no words in warning Liberian government officials to, in quote, get serious or get out.
Wow.
If you tell...
Well, in session, I'm just hearing that. Did he say that?
Yeah, get serious or get out. If you tell the president something, it must happen, and learn to hold yourselves accountable. He admonished government officials while discussing budgeting and sustainable targets for development. He revealed that Liberia's time for lip service is over and action is now the only acceptable currency. You asked for the opportunity to serve. Now serve. This country needs transformation, not decoration. No more excuses. Dr. Adesina drawing strong applause from the audience. With President Bwakai seated alongside him, Dr. Adesina challenged cabinet ministers and top public officials to stop chasing titles and start delivering results for a nation still healing from years of underdevelopment, misgovernance, and youth unemployment. Some officials of government who are currently part of the program are Speaker Richard Kuhn, Finance Minister Augustine Kafwan, Agriculture Minister, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, I'm not surprised because Dr. Adesina is known for being blunt. It was his bluntness, in addition to his experience and education, that really made him successful as agriculture minister for Africa's most populous country, Nigeria, which created the base for Nigeria to advocate for the presidency of the African Development Bank, since it is one of the largest funders of the bank. But as you are reading this, I'm thinking, what if a Liberian has said this? You will see both sides of the aisle now interpreting that in their own ways politically, without thinking about the message, the crux of the message and the country, but to attack the messenger in ways that they meet the expectations of their political organization. So I'm beginning to think gradually, I'm not there yet, that perhaps the two-party system in our country needs to be looked at, and maybe a viable tariff force as some of
Yeah,
our
before,
people have been
but before
assuming that.
before we get
But
there,
the country is becoming more polarized between the supporters of these two parties.
do you think he has evidence that these things he's critiquing or these different charges he's giving to these ministers are actually there are problems existing currently?
No, you don't need evidence. You know, he's heading one of the biggest development bank in Africa and one of the premier development banks in the world. All right. Regionally, this is Africa's bank, development bank. And he does not talk out of vacuum. He looks at numbers. You know, people like Dr. Adesina, have data on all of the countries in Africa. Just beyond the data, they also have political intelligence on governance and other things, other issues confronting a country. You don't need to be brief on that. You enter the country, you know, you look at the data, you know, and therefore you speak because you have intelligence. You know what makes America successful in the world? They have superior intelligence about, countries and regions so that they can act. And it's hard for people to challenge them, except in rare cases like the WMD in Iraq and so on. But data intelligence is important, and economic intelligence is one of the things that the AFDB does well.
Okay. Now, days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, you wrote this that sparked a whole lot of writings on social media. It was like a call to action piece, and different responses, different agreements. And you said, now that the debate about yesterday's protest and crowd size is over, I hope we can focus on the important issues affecting our country. The truth quietly watches our self-deception since 1980. It doesn't protest or make noise. Those who oppose us often reveal truths that supporters might miss. We lie to protect ourselves, but we usually speak honestly when we disagree. Yesterday may not have been a good day for the protesters, according to regime supporters, but I hope our government hears their complaints. A silent majority didn't feel the need to protest yesterday, maybe because of its leaders, but will protest at the polls in 2029 if they don't see the government making a difference in their lives. They say we can ignore reality, but we cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Remember, we had stable macroeconomics before the 2023 elections. While we are making sturdy progress now, times are still tough for families. Don't trust those who only say good things about you or a situation. Why did you write this?
Well, I was coming from a position of honest reaction to the way some of my own friends and political allies were reacting to our fellow citizens who feel that they needed to express their disagreements with the government. And people trivialize that, and I can understand the politics of, when we did the June 7 in 2018, the crowd size was larger than this one, blah, 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 and all of that. This is all politics. But I was coming from the point where we needed to listen to them. We needed to know what their grievances were. Some of them, up to now, I don't even know what they are. Some of the grievances may be genuine and some may be trivial, but the leaders of the country should make that determination. And that's number one. Number two, we live in a country where the opportunity for work is limited, and government is the place where everybody gravitates to for employment. So there are some people out there who will say things in support of the government, hoping that they will be recognized one day and given jobs. They may not necessarily be telling the truth, but it's their way of job hunting to land somewhere. In that case, those who disagree with us at that time, in my view, are people we should listen to as well, because they may be telling us things that those who support us and hopefully we expect to be rewarded for their support may not be telling us. That's number one. Number two, we went through a difficult election. It's very rare in the history of Africa, in African elections, to unseat an incumbent. I've been looking all around for this. It's difficult. Liberia did that. And Liberia did that because, of the mistakes of the CDC government under former President Weah. I was in this very studio, I recall, in 2022 when I returned home, and people called and asked, and I said that there was macroeconomic stability. We're beginning to see it after, big missteps in the beginning of the Weah administration. Remember when Eaton and Ibu Mavden came here, they suspended the IMF program for over a year, and the consequences of that suspension impacted, the economy severely, because the IMF program was not there, and then next thing you know, they are operating everywhere, hoping to take advantage of the populous, politics that brought them to power. Next thing you know, inflation went over 20%. Exchange rate here was out of the roof. Then you have the container gate. You have all that stuff happening. But what really happens is that after elections, you see inflation and the exchange rate, fluctuating, because during election there's a lot of Liberian dollars that are infused into the economy. So you will feel that after the election. It takes special effort to map that out. The $25 million map-up exercise that went, that became controversial and all of that. So for the first 2 to 3 years, the CDC government struggled, but and then COVID came. Exactly. Thank you for that. And then when they finally accepted the IMF program, and which brought some discipline into economic governance, we started to see some stability in the economy. This is where I was coming from. But guess what? The damage had been done. And the impact of that stability was not being felt by the population. In addition to the missteps in political governance, going after your opponent, all these killings that happened, people were accusing the government of killing people in the government with all its resources and power, could not put together a special prosecutor to look into this, to vindicate them, was a big mistake. So fear gripped this town. Everybody was afraid. By 6 o'clock, people going home, everybody already thought the government was after people who criticized them. So I was saying, in 2018, June 6, all of us supported that protest.
That's June 7.
June 7, I'm sorry. That was led by my friend and brother, Henry Costa. It was very successful and so on. This protest may have been different and may have been, led by different people, but yet they had some genuine grievances that the government needed to listen to. And I just wanted our people to be open-minded and channel those grievances to the president for action. And I reminded them that even though today we see stability economic-wise, but we're not out of the woods yet.
No.
And with all of that, we're able to defeat the CDC. And I just want to make sure that in addition to the stability we see, we can now focus, like President Adesina said today, that the ministers, those who are responsible for implementation, are really focusing on targeting our people.
Before we go to other questions surrounding all of those, is there evidence from the past, whether you were a minister or whatsoever, that you provided these kinds of cautions, whether internally or publicly? Were there times that you said...
that's an interesting question. I became a minister in 2008, I believe August. Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs. And I'm forever be grateful to President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for giving me the opportunity. When we went there and we did our recruitment and brought in all these talented young people, the Moalis of the world and others, to help, what we did was to create county development officers and reach out to the UNDP to fund them. And we deployed them to the counties and assigned them to the superintendents. And they became like the planning ministers or the planning coordinators in each county. And we developed the county development agenda linked to the poverty reduction strategy. But we did not have any role in implementation. So by 2010, 2 years after rolling out the PRS, people forget, but we used to have something here called the Lift Liberia Poverty Reduction Strategy back in 2008 up until 2011. After 2 years, I initiated an evaluation of the implementation of the PRS through our county development officers. The reports came back and the results were dismal, 18% implementation rate. So I started to think, how do we present this information so that we are not seen as anti-government, the very government we are working in? Everybody was afraid. So I met with President Salif. I showed her the result. She, just like the president spoke today, President Adesina, she was shocked. And I said to her, well, we have two options. We keep our mouth shut, or we present this to colleagues in cabinet. People will feel uncomfortable. They may come after me. And then, you, the president, what do you think? She said, present it to cabinet. Everybody needs to know what's happening. And after cabinet, go to MICAT. Larry Gbarpolu was the minister at the time. Go to MICAT and hold a press conference and release this result. That way, everybody knows that the accountability is on them. The public was expecting them. I'm the president. I appointed all of you. But, the public needs to also get involved in all of it. If people recall, we did that. We did a cabinet meeting as expected. Some ministers were not happy about the results. People started contesting. They started challenging the methodology and so on. I went to MICAT. I did the announcement. And then we recalibrated the implementation of the PRS. My brother Gafwan was Minister of Finance. It also helped him to see what was happening, to help him in terms of fiscal management, disbursement, and so on. By the time we got to 2011 elections, people were working left and right. Even with all that work we did, we were not able to get 50+1, a first round victory. So it is from this experience that I was trying to offer advice to my friends in the UP that, look, we've been around, and this country is mostly an opposition country. People are anti-establishment here, no matter what you do. But besides that, the population is growing at an astronomical rate of 2.4% approximately every year. The economy is growing below 6%. So when you really look at it, your output is not sufficient to address the needs of everybody unless you do serious reforms to begin to push for double-digit growth to cover a lot of space economically. So to answer your question, yes, I have done this before. And those who know me know that I don't like dishonesty in policy making, so people think I'm arrogant. But I come to the conversation with numbers. It is left with the leaders to use the numbers to make progress.
Well, some of them will think, why couldn't you do it internally? They think by always coming public and perhaps critiquing the government that you helped to bring to power is like ridiculing. It's like bringing it to public disrepute. It's like undermining.
Well, it's important to know that late in the 2023 election, sometime around late August, we decided to, with all the infighting in the Unity Party, we decided to support the CDC. I think this is an open secret. And they won. And then during governance, they started to ignore our advice. And in some cases, people, those who were around Mr. Weir...
But then your support was not open.
Of course, it was not open because I was working for the World Bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So, um, people started to tell me, so we don't listen to that man. You bring him around here, he's going to control you, blah, blah. You see how you control Ellie? It's talk like that, small talk like that. So we left them. We did the support without any quid pro quo. And then we left them. And then they were making all kinds of mistakes here. We tried to reach out to them. They thought we wanted, to be relevant. And so we went public and started criticizing them together with our UP friends who were in the opposition. There are some friends in the UP who joked me for 6 years they were responsible for what was happening in the CDC. Some of them are listening, but we took the joke. But in reality, there were some regrets there because of the way things were happening. So when the opportunity came for us to course correct, we decided to reintegrate with our side to have this victory. But then you can only offer advice when the space is created for you to offer advice privately, through the regular chain. But when that is not there, I am an elected official. And my commitment first is to the people who elected me, to the country, not to any individual. And as a national leader, I can either shut up and keep getting paid and do nothing for 9 years, go back to the people if I want to, or retire. I'm a professional, a consummate professional with a lot of connections. I can do other things with the rest of my life. But that's not the reason for public service. So when you advise publicly, when you go on the floor and argue these things and nothing is happening, you need to be able to channel your support in a way that it gets everybody's attention. And this is where I'm coming from.
Well, as something you're
and
trying
there are times, for example, in the case of the yellow machine issue, I got text messages. I contacted ministers in the Ministry of State, Information, Public Works, and so on. Nobody could tell me anything. And that's when I said, okay, I have to stand up for Liberia.
You were very close to the president. I remember you were the first person to take him out to the U.S. and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
To be shut out like that sounds a little strange to me.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you were the late dialing boy of the elections.
Sure. And like I said to you, this is my second tour of public service to my country. The first time I came, I was green, basically naive about politics. But one thing I did not lose sight of is who I am. I left from here when I was young. The foundation for my public service happened in an environment where honesty is the hallmark, meritocracy, and so on. And so, yes, there's politics, but I try to balance politics with some of my own training in terms of being blunt about how I see things. I realize that in this culture, when you do that, people see you as a know-it-all, that you don't have, you don't respect other people. You talk as if you know everything, like some people will say. But where I was trained professionally, and I don't talk about it much, which is in the U.S., this is your boss, whatever, you can have conversation with them. You can tell them the truth about what's happening in the organization because you are paid to add value, but not to see something wrong and then you keep quiet about it. So in the case of post-election, I made a decision to myself that this tour here, I was not coming here to fight with anybody for proximity. I did that too much during the Ellington, and it's exhausted me. And I left. I went and spent 7 years at the World Bank and came back. I was going to do my best to support whoever was in Liberia's best interest without any expectation, without any quid pro quo. And if that person appreciates the value that I add to the organization. I will continue to do that. But when people start to fight, there was no need to get into a bloodbath for proximity and so on and so forth. So it's a personal decision. It's good for my mental health, and I don't blame anybody for it. If I wanted to stay, I could stay and fight. But at this stage in my life, I'm grateful to God for what He has done for me. I don't need to fight people for the good of my country.
There are some who think you've adopted this centrist role to curry favor from the opposition, especially the CDC, especially when you talked about macroeconomic stability in 2023 and all that kind of stuff. You're making the UP to appear somehow because they seem to be putting you down.
Yeah.
So you might likely be finding new friends and favor from the CDC and the opposition.
No, the people who are, first of all, I don't need praise from anybody. I think both sides were trying to politicize my position.
Because even former Minister Toy praised you that that is how the politics should be, numbers, and people should be saying the truth.
Yeah, a high-level government official forwarded me what he wrote, and I read it. And I said to myself, I wish he had not done it, because it comes across as me trying to make the case for the CDC and all of its shortcomings. That was not my intention. My intention was to warn my friends who are now at the helm of running our state. How do you criticize METEC and you come in and you don't do anything about it? There are new players.
Yeah, I was definitely coming there. Things that you
there are
critique.
new relationships and so on. How do you criticize the Monrovia to Topmanbury Highway with all the trucks that are on there hauling minerals to our port and shipping them during the CDC regime, and almost 2 years later there are no changes? How do you criticize? How do you implement the whole the contract at the Transport Ministry for driver licenses and something that the President Weah government signed but did not implement? How do you come now and implement that? How do you open the door to Zoom Lion, a Ghanaian company, to come and clean our poo-poo and our trash for us here? Liberians can't do that. I don't think that's what we came together for, to remove that government.
In fact, on the motor transport thing, the Weah office argues that it was not what he signed. What he signed did not include a driver's license and vehicle registration.
That's being implemented now. APM terminal, I got no problem with them, but they've been here since the end of the war. Are you telling me that all this time we did not build the capacity in the port to manage the work that they are doing, and we are concessioning the entire country? People will say, well, you were finance minister, what did you do? Let me tell you something. It's been 20 plus years since the end of the war. The economic management model post-conflict, immediately post-conflict, was necessary to attract investors. 20 years later, we should have a different model that put Liberians in a driver's seat, and this is not a political statement, that put Liberians in a driver's seat so that all that money that these people are making and taking out of the country can remain right here, and that's how you will impact the ordinary citizen, because those who will have these concessions among us. But guess what? We don't like each other. We hate each other. The statement that President Adesina made today, had a Liberian made that, I remember when our sister Lima Bowie talked about opposition, this position, that speech she made, she came on an attack, because she was a Liberian, but she spoke the truth. The statement that President Adesina made today, the president of the African Development Bank, I can guarantee you, if it was a Liberian, he would be on an attack right now.
In fact, he also stated that and Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Ibrahim posted that. Let me read, because it jives with exactly where you were going. Okay. So he said, Liberia must end the export of raw materials.
Yeah.
The export of raw materials is a door to poverty.
Yeah.
When you negotiate concessions, negotiate in your own interest, not in the interest of others.
Yes.
Dr. Adesina said this as well at that program.
Yeah, so let's agree that maybe Liberians don't have the capital to do the kind of intensive work that these companies are doing in the mining sector. But hey, man, to clean poo, to clean the street, to manage telecom gateway, to clear customs, to manage containers in a port, and so on. And we are not able to do that? Are you telling me that we don't have Liberians who can do that? So, I didn't say that in my post. And when I showed the numbers, I was just saying, look at the number in 2023, but the people didn't care because it was not impacting them. Look at your number in 2024. They are marginal increases. You're not out of the woods yet. You don't have 6 years anymore. We don't. I too am responsible for this government, for its success. Whether I'm consulted or not, whether they see me as their friend or not, I play a role to usher in this government. And if by keeping quiet makes me complicit. So we have to remind each other, hopefully constructively, that we got to roll up our sleeves. We are in the legislature. We got our own issues there. People don't think that we're making laws, etc., but we're working. But at the end of the day, the executive, the one that implements these things, so that they can impact our people. Now, is the government making progress? Absolutely, and I said that in my post. There's progress, and the progress is slow because you don't have 3 million people anymore in 2008. You have close to 6 million now, but your growth rate is 5%. And you need to double that. People say, well, when you're Minister of Finance, how come you didn't double it? That's true. But we got close to it. We got up to 9% 1 year. Okay, back then. They say, well, UNMIL was here and all of that, fine. But we made the investment from the presence of UNMIL here to create stability in the security sector mainly, and also to make the investments in the economy. For example, electricity, road connectivity is far better today than they were 20 years ago. There was no electricity here. 0 megawatts. Also, generator was in this country. Now you have, electricity is getting stable and so on. Are we connecting the productive sector of the economy in order to increase the growth rate to that double digit that we are talking about? You have approximately 80,000 young people entering the labor force every year in this country. No jobs. You have drugs that is eating away our future. This government came based on the promise to the Liberian people that
drug was one of the major campaign issues.
Yes, but look at what's happening. Again, this is not to take away from the something. For example, we have to give the president credit, and I said it the other day at the intercessory service that, look, those who were questioning President Baka's experience, I believe, in my humble opinion, that he is the most prepared person to come to the presidency based on his experience, from managing director of FPMC to agriculture to LPRC, vice president for 12 years. He is the most prepared of everybody. I stand to be corrected, from J.J. Rabba all the way to President Salif to run the country. He knows how the legislature works. He knows how the executive works, and so on. So look at what he did recently, the reconciliation. To me, that's spot on. And only a wise leader can do that. Other people had the opportunity to do it, they didn't do it. And this is a good thing. But at the end of the day, it's about bread and butter, Julius. And this is where I hope the president's economic team can work with him and support him so that the bread and butter issues are corrected. Otherwise, people will blame all of us, for their woes in this country.
Let me bring up two issues from the legislature. One is an issue of audit.
Yeah.
There are people who think, some of you come as these moral voices, but you've not done well in the legislature in terms of ensuring that you are audited. That's one. Two, there is this thought that your committee, the joint one, spent over $1 million plus for committee hearings and all of that.
Yeah.
What explanation can you provide for
I'm glad you asked this question. In the legislature, we work through committees. When I first came, you recall the Buchanan retreat, and I tried to be a Lone Ranger there, and next thing you know, my colleagues were not happy. So I started to realize that you work through committees and consensus. Let me tell you about the Joint Public Account Committee and the transfer line in the budget to the Joint Public Account Secretariat. We have a secretariat at the legislature, just like the LBO, the Legislative Budget Office.
Oh.
Yes! That secretariat was created to support the legislature, to summarize.
So that means you have people working there that are paid.
In fact, let me give you the number, 26.
26 people?
26 librarians and about 10 consultants working there for $735,000 year round. Every month, the government spends $61,000 to pay them to do their work. It's not for committee hearing. What are we doing with $1 million to go do hearing? We're hearing where? But as part of the operation also, when you call people for hearing, you got to give them water. Mm-hmm. And when you run through lunch, you got to serve lunch. So the secretariat takes care of that. It's not us senators.
So it's unfortunate. It is not you, the senators, that manage that.
No, it's unfortunate. Finance has the record. Finance does. Finance ministry does the. The joint secretary started when I was Minister of Finance. Okay. It was part of the reforms to make sure that audit reports don't sit on the shelves of lawmakers, because you are busy. There are people there who don't know anything about interpreting financial data. So you needed a secretariat that is led by a manager who coordinates all of this to help us understand all the reports.
And then perhaps the nomenclature of the line item, don't you think it is problematic?
That's a very good point, and we will consider that, because to the public, to my brother Martin Konneh, I know he's going to come back and try to refute it because he doesn't like for anybody to challenge him, and I understand that. He is right to hold all of us accountable, but on this particular issue, that money is purely for the support of the secretariat and the work they do. For example, if you have followed us this week, we have completed the consolidated report for all the other hearings that we had last year for 12 other reports, including the central bank report. The House endorsed it. I think tomorrow we are going to vote on it. There were some sticky issues there, and then we'll send it to the president for recommendation. They're in there, we are recommending restitution for some people, prosecution for some people. I have asked the secretariat to summarize how much money we are going to potentially save, return to Liberia through this process. This is to pay staff and consultants for the work they do to support the work of the PAC committee members.
Okay. On the issue of audit of the legislature, I know there were times you, Senator Snow, and others raising the issue of audit, but still.
Yeah, and Senator Young, our pro tem took the proactive step to bring in the GAC to first do the system audits. Right now, as I speak to you, we have somebody, a financial consultant, that she brought in. She's very serious about it. I have to commend her, for her leadership, for being courageous to push this, because to talk about audit in the legislature, it was like a taboo. So she has done a systems audit. We are using that systems audit now to put in place the financial systems so that you can do regular, full-scale audit in the future. So at this point, we are building the system now. If you are asking why not audit the past, I think that is a question of, can you audit the past in an event where there was no systems? Can the GAC actually audit the past in an institution that had no financial, no accounting system, none whatsoever?
Well, we should be asking the GAC that question.
Correct. We should, and we did. And what they told us when we met was that it would be difficult to do that audit because there's no document to review. There's nothing to trace in the legislature. So what I ask the Liberian people is to see the wisdom in the Senate through our leader to allow this system building process to mature. And then hopefully by the time we end this other session of the legislature, the legislature will be in a better position to be audited for Liberian people.
I don't know if they are already there, but what do you think of internal auditors being embedded at the legislature, like they are at the ministries and agencies?
Yes, they're not there yet, but our financial consultant who is putting these systems in place is consulting both for the IAA and the GSC, and the guy is very competent, and I think he's doing a fantastic job.
Before we go to the lines,
Yeah.
there are those who think or who describe you as being egoistic or
Yeah.
egotistical.
Yeah.
You want it to be your way.
Yeah.
Once it is not your way,
Yeah.
then you find ways to critique it.
Yeah.
In fact, possibly you may be considering a 2029 run and all that kind of thing. And it is like you're not seeing your way in the unity party. Earlier, you were even talking about a third force.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's where you want to go together with others. How do you respond to that?
Well, people, I don't have control over people's opinions of me, but I know who I am, and the person I am is that I will never shake your hand on something and then stab you in the back. I will not do that. Unless we come back and you tell me, say, Amara, slow down. But once we agree on something, that's it. When I give you my word is my word. I think that's one reputation I have in this town. Now, I want the public to know that we are in a predatory, corrupt environment where people prey on people for being kind. They exploit their expertise or whatever resources they bring to the table. And then once they achieve the goal, then it becomes a totally different ball game. I don't know how to do these machinations, to be honest with you. I don't know how to go in a corner and change things, unknowing to people and so on and so forth. So when I found out that people have changed course in the middle of the game or in the middle of our programs without telling me, I get offended, and that's when I take the positions that I take. But I'm not egoistic. I'm not blandly ambitious. I live below my means, about 50%. I'm not flashy. I'm not all of those things. But I don't like deceit. And the definition of politics for some of our brothers and sisters in this town, they're just using and get what we want. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not all for that. And once I detect that in you, I'll fight against you. And in our culture, that comes across as
still on the
egoistic and all
Terrafos
that.
2029 Terrafos. You are already pushing the Terrafos thing. Musa
No.
Ability is running with his CMC.
I said, and I will repeat what I said, and I will tell you exactly where I am.
Okay.
Our politics is becoming too polarized. Look at what's happening with the projects in Bon and Nimba counties. Look at all this talk about who started it. But people forget that in 2018, the same thing happened when President Weah was dedicating projects here. Both sides trying to take credit for what and what.
Yeah.
The EAWA role, and so on and so forth. Does it matter?
Certain roles in Nimba
Yeah,
County.
does it
in the
matter?
Southeast.
Does it matter at this point when we all say government is continuity and so on? Does it hurt that at these programs we can be honest and say we want to thank this president for initiating this. I want to thank my team for completing it. Wouldn't that be part of the reconciliation to close the gap? But when we polarize our politics and we don't think about its impact on those who elect us, I don't like that kind of game. And I'm beginning to see that our friends in the UP are becoming less tolerant. They were just in the opposition a few years ago, and some of them were maltreated, and all of us stood for them. How can you come in the government now and you try to do the same thing? For example, at the LTA, the old commissioners under the Weah regime were asked to resign to create space for these new commissioners to come in. Then all of a sudden, the new commissioners are being confirmed, But then there's a debate about whether they pay those old commissioners. That's wrong. We can't keep hurting each other every time we get power, and we just hurt each other in this country. We are just one people. If you made an agreement with them to step aside and you will pay them, pay them. Don't put them through that kind of stuff. So, I mean, where are we going? So this is where the whole idea of a third force is beginning to resonate with me, but I'm not there yet. I just hope that, all of my friends on both sides can see me as the black sheep. I'm an old cat in this politics.
Do you think the UP can course correct?
Of course, I think they have time to course correct. It's been only a year and a half, and the expectation of the population is higher for the UP than the CDC, in my view, because of the experience of running the country for 12 years. And then also President Boakai is surrounded by people, I don't want to sound condescending to the CDC, who have more experience, more education, and so on. So people expect that this regime will improve their living conditions compared to the CDC. And that is why I hope we all need to be hard on ourselves and hold each other accountable. We shouldn't wait for President Adesina to come and give that kind of speech before we can, tighten our belts to get to work. If Amara Konneh says something to remind us, I hope you can take it in good faith versus me trying to maybe give CDC a tailwind against the UP. That's not my intention.
Okay. His name is Amara Konneh, Senator Gbarpolu County. Maybe the next time he's here, we will talk more about Gbarpolu too, because they may not be happy that I'm hosting the senator. And we hardly ever mention them.
Yes, you focus on national issue, but yesterday at the hearing of the LTA, we talked to them about digital inclusion for our people. Besides Gbarpolu, everywhere you go in Gbarpolu County is 2G. It's just voice. They have to climb the hills. For example, in my hometown, people have to come from several towns into a particular spot on my farm to make calls to their relatives abroad. And we are in the 21st century, for God's sake. So we're urging the LTA commissioners yesterday to move from 2G to 3G in those communities, and we talk about our people.
Okay.
Yeah.
777-700-995, the number. Welcome. Let's hear you. Go ahead quickly, sir.
Senator, let me first of all thank you for playing the role you played to get the CDC off our backs. You have become a political maverick, and I admire you for that, and that is challenging the status quo from within. That's very good. But I'd like to advise that you please do it inside. This country is a very funny country. We don't understand.
Well, he said the inside channels are closed. So if there's no way to do it inside, do it outside.
They are open. But let me give him.
But the men again, he said they think closed. Then you say
I'm telling him they are not closed. They're still open. Let me ask my question then. Thank you.
Okay.
Senator, this country needs fire trucks in every district. We need ambulances in every district. Now, the flooding is taking over people's homes all over the country. People are suffering. Don't you think it's unfair for you senators and representatives to receive a brand new car every 3 years, costing $45,000, when the budget of this country has not even reached $1 billion?
Okay, let's hold that. Let's take orders quickly. We don't have enough time. Welcome. Let's hear you from overseas.
Yeah, Patrick. So, Judas, I'm going to just, this has been my argument on your show or other platforms. How can our programs, like the senator said, the import, how can our grants we sign, growth in our GDP? There was growth under former President Ellen. There was growth under we are though. How can these things, how can the impact be felt by our people? Like the senator said, this is the problem. We can solve this problem, but we have to keep this problem where it is. Nobody is saying that George Weah did not do well, Why do you think after 6 years he built roads? There was growth in the GDP. Yet instead the people say, we tired suffering. That's the same thing we say in this government. Let your programs, let your policy, let your fiscal policy, grants, growth in your GDP. We want this to reflect in the lives of our people in Gbarpolu.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's hold you there. Let's bring another person in from the US to France. Let's hear you.
Good afternoon, Julius, and good afternoon to Honorable Konneh.
Go ahead, quickly.
Honorable Konneh, you are gone 1 year, 6 months, or 7 months, I may be corrected on that. And you are not going back to congratulate the people who gave you a 9 years job.
How you know?
I think that's unfortunate, Honorable Konneh.
How you know?
To hold you there. I am in my county.
Hello, wait now, Frank Gibson. Let the man respond.
No. I think he's trying to take a cheap shot and focus. No. Let me answer you. What is your idea of appreciating the people, to go and give them liquor and food and stuff? No, I'm not that kind of politician. Since the election, let me finish. Since the election, I have built roads that were, whatever. I don't think
Okay, Frank.
Yeah.
Let me just find out from you. He is almost in his county every week. So when you say he didn't go back to appreciate people, what do you want him to do?
Julius, Honorable Konneh will never reach some of those villages that he went to when you're running campaign. Some of those people will never see until the 9 years.
I am asking you, what do you want him to do in terms of appreciation?
Change the life of the people of Gbarpolu.
Okay.
In my county.
Okay, thanks. So currently he's talking about development. No, let me just take a few more calls.
Because it's wrong. It's wrong. I need to address that. I am in my county every other week. I have jobs for people there. I have built roads since I was elected to fix the bad road conditions. I have built ferries for communities that were disconnected from the main center of the economy and so on and so forth. And we are closing this week. I'm going to spend the month of August vacationing in my county. All right. So if you don't see me posting appreciation programs and so on and so forth, doesn't mean that I haven't appreciated the people. Maybe I have not gone to your village here, but it's 9 years, and the appreciation is a continuous process. This is a permanent campaign, my friend.
Okay.
It's not a one-time campaign.
Okay, thanks. So kind of this person says, recently we heard that the Bamboo Town Bridge was fixed temporarily. I saw some videos about the bridge, which is very terrible. Please let him address it. You know any place called Bamboo Town Bridge?
Of course, yes. And we have been discussing this. The Monrovia Gbarpolu Highway is a national highway. The issue here is that the last caucus and the project management committee plus the council met and approved certain projects, including the Bamboo Town Bridge, where they were supposed to spend at least about $150,000 on that bridge. Apparently, they did not implement the project during their time until this government came into office. Our caucus believe that since this is a national road, we can appeal to the government to fix that bridge, since they were rehabilitating the road, and then we can put that $150,000 into other projects. Then it became an issue between the representative for the district and my colleague, Senator Konneh, the caucus chair. And Public Works has gone there to do the bridge, but the design that was displayed,
it's not the same bridge that Musa Belede's party to do.
The design that my brother Musa displayed for the people was more attractive, than maybe what Public Works had put there. But Public Works has rehabilitated the bridge and vehicles are moving.
Okay. Thanks. So kind of let's take this one that has been on quickly. 35 seconds.
Yes, sir. Julius, good evening, and good evening to my brother in studio, Senator Amara, Konneh, and Musa Sharif. Senator Konneh, I want to appreciate you so highly. You are a very disciplined public official. What is perceived that has happened to you, I don't know if it is what happening or so, that the European government has closed its door on you, I still consider that as people saying, and you remain well within the confine of discipline in terms of governance, and you are not behaving like the other people. For me, I see that very commending. I mean, it's very, very commendable. I want to thank you for that. And then concerning some of the assertion that you made regarding CDC for the macroeconomic, improvement they had during the 2023, these things were physical, they were saying. I mean, it's just CDC's own error that they didn't follow up to disseminate their own information. That is not new. It was new to both the CDC and the UP, but CDC failure to announce what it did. I think you did well for them.
Okay.
And lastly, on the issue, I'll make it quickly.
Yeah, but the time now.
Yeah. On the issues of arrogance, I think it's very important that the UP comes down. You are in governance. Come down. Arrogance can't solve it.
Okay, let's hold you right there. Let's take orders. Quickly, let's hear you.
Hello, Julia. My name is Mama C. Kabal.
Go ahead.
I want to thank my big brother and the senator in studio for his analysis. And first of all, I must commend him for going beyond conventional politics in Liberia. It takes a brave person to support the side you support and still come out to disagree when there are disagreeable issues. And he should not be deterred because he has been very sincere, like he said. The expectation of this government is high, and the simple reason for that is because the impression the government put the Liberian people under, that the CDC-led government was doing a lot of bad things, they were coming to face it. Take, for instance, the drugs. They campaign on the basis of drugs abuse. But since they came to power, I don't have the actual data, but the issue about drugs has increased. That same man told us that we should manage our expectations, and we took it to be fun. We were joking around here. Those who did not manage their expectations, they are frustrated right now. So he should not mind the intolerance of our brother from the UP. I think he just needs to speak out where there is fact, especially like the former minister of finance said. Once you have the data and you know this is the truth, say it so that your people can know what is going on because you have the knowledge about the field. So
Okay.
thank you so very much.
Thanks so kindly for your call as well. We go back to him. Just 1 minute to wrap up, sir.
Well, I want to close with this caveat, and I want all of my friends on both sides to know that this is our country. My generation bear perhaps felt the most consequences of our war. We are tempered by war, by our civil war. All right, I'm in my mid-50s now. So some of us are in public service to reflect on what we have done. I have had my share of mistakes, but my mistakes were for good intention. And my responsibility now is to share my experience with my friends who are now leading these institutions to help us move our country forward. I don't want you to consider my position, public position, private position, as anti-you or in support of you. I'm doing this for Liberia. When I came back, I made a commitment to myself, my family, and my staff, and told them that I didn't come back here for all the political shenanigans. I will find the right people to work with, and I will speak my mind independently, whether I get in trouble for that or not. And so I hope that the same spirit that brought us together as colleagues in the past still exists.
Do you think people should be getting cars every 3 years
And
as
then,
the
well,
as?
Well, I really don't, to be honest, I don't think so. I think the new people who come in should get their cars, and the car should take us for our term. I hope my colleagues don't get angry with me, but again, people ask me why. When I was minister here, the car I had at planning, I was minister here for 8 years. I spent 3.5 years at planning. I spent 4 years at finance. The Nissan Patrol they bought for me at Ministry of Planning is the same Nissan Patrol that took me to the airport when I resigned and joined the World Bank.
Wow.
So
all those years.
Yes. The car, my personal car now is about 10 years. I don't have a brand new car myself.
What do you mean? That Wrangler?
Yeah, no. The Wrangler is a used car I bought for the campaign, but my Land Cruiser.
Oh, okay.
So for
I like
me,
the Wrangler.
for me, car is not a big deal, but for other people, it may be a big deal. Yes.
Okay. Thanks so kindly, sir.
Thank you.
That's how we go. My name is Julius J. We are out.